Congressman Justin Amash said today, this is the only Republican in the Congress who has come out in support of impeachment. He had a town hall in his Republican district in Michigan today. Let's listen to just a bit of that.
I think it's really important that we do our job as a Congress, that we not allow misconduct to go undeterred, that we not just say someone can violate the public trust and that there are no consequences to it.
He began with a standing ovation. He has gone beyond what the Democratic leadership of the House of Representatives has said about impeachment.
Yeah, and what he has done is what we need more people in the United States Congress to do, which is to put country before party. Put country before party. We are looking at a system right now where, you know, and this is where I derive optimism but also concern. You know, the framers of our country, they designed a beautiful system in terms of our democracy. They designed a system where they said, okay, then they presupposed in some branch of government there might be abuses. So they designed our democracy, our republic in a way there would be 3 co-equal branches of government and then a free and independent press, with the idea that each would then be the check and balance against the other. So when we talk about a process of impeachment, it is about the checks and balances that the framers imagined would be in place to be a check against abuses. And that is another reason why I support that process. And what he is talking about is right. We must put country before party on a fundamental interest that is about the integrity of our democracy.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.